Welcome to Disrespectfully Agree with Oatman and LJ. I am LJ. With me is Michael Oatman.
Oatman in the house. What's up, baby?
We've just...
Infinity Wars in this bitch.
Spoilers. I hadn't said it yet.
Sorry, go ahead.
We just stepped out of Infinity War, Avengers, Infinity War Part 1.
I wanted to go home and lay down and have a nap and be with my wife, but once again, LJ was, no, we've got to do it now. We've got to go immediately and talk about it. All right, LJ, I suppose. That work ethic of his, I guess.
Nope. Just because your wife's in the room.
That's how
She's not going to listen to this otherwise.
I was like, no, I want to go home and rub my wife's feet and watch Netflix. No, we got to do it now.
We'll start out with a spoiler-free, as nearly spoiler-free conversation as we can, and we'll transition eventually into some spoiler talk, and we'll let you know when that happens. All right, I think most people know what to expect here. They know what this was. It's a big movie, Marvel movie. It stars every single character in the Marvel Universe, nearly.
Yes.
Paul Rudd conspicuously absent.
Yeah, which made no sense.
No, there was a thing. They said something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Anyway, how was the Infinity War Part 1?
I really liked it. I enjoyed it. Man, I marvel at how...
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I marvel at how Marvel just gets the tone right. It's just so easy to screw it up or for it to be corny or not corny in a good way, and they just get it right almost every time out of the gate. And this has sort of a light, easy breezy nature that balances well with the action. They did one thing in this movie that I thought was quite extraordinary, and it was something that I was dreading when I came in to see the film, and they actually pulled it off. And that is, I always talk about mustache twirlers, and that's what I consider these sort of one-dimensional villains that are, I'm evil like just to be evil.
Right. Like the French Inspector Poirot.
Exactly.
Mustache twirlers.
Exactly, mustache twirlers. Thanks for explaining the obscure reference.
Everybody knows Poirot.
There you go. And so... for them to take Thanos, who I thought was a very bland character the times that I've seen him. Every time I see him, I'm just waiting for him to get his ass off screen. They really took the time to turn him into a very interesting, far more complex villain. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the thing about him feeling as though his plan to sort of murder half the universe really was something that was an act of compassion. And he believed it. He believes it. I like the fact that they gave him something to love. He's not just a guy who runs around being evil to be evil. He actually does show some level of compassion at certain points of the film, and he also shows a different side of himself. I didn't think they would pull that off. I thought he was going to be a very boring villain. Boy, was I wrong.
What they did was they avoided as you might expect, they avoided the Steppenwolf from Justice League villain problem.
Absolutely.
Quite well here. Ironically, Thanos is kind of a copy of what happened in the DC Universe back in the day on Marvel Comics. Jack Kirby, one of the architects of the Marvel Universe, went over to DC eventually and created a bunch of characters there, including Darkseid and a number of the characters from the New Gods and so on and so forth. And Thanos is kind of Marvel's answer to that. Gotcha. And Steppenwolf is a character from that universe. And Marvel just continues to eat DC's lunch. They drink their milkshake, as it were, every time out. This is almost a Thanos movie.
It really is. I mean, it really is. I mean, he is almost the protagonist of the film, and a good one. I mean, he actually holds my attention, and there are a couple scenes and a couple exchanges that he has here. There's an exchange between him and Iron Man towards the end of the film that is wonderfully written. I was just like, that is a wonderfully written exchange as he's battling with Iron Man, and the battle takes a turn. Thanos has some lines in there that are just pure gold. I mean, I just was like, wow, that's a movie up there. That's not just a superhero movie. That's drama happening in front of us. Was really impressed.
Hey kids, LJ here with a quick announcement. We get to spoilers from here on out. We didn't really mean to, but we did. So that's going to happen starting now.
Here's the thing so Thanos is almost the main character, and if you think about it from that point of view, this movie has a happy ending. I should have put this in spoiler talk, shouldn't I?
I mean, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, I suppose.
If he's the hero of this movie.
Well, it's funny because there's actually, and I guess this is a spoiler alert, but there's actually.
All right, we're transitioning to spoilers. We'll go back to. I'll have to edit the hell out of this.
Okay,
we're going to jump into spoilers.
Well, I won't
here.
make it a spoiler, but I'll say this: there is a scene at the very end of this movie after we have had sort of a sequence of shocking events, and there's a shot of Thanos who's kind of sitting back. Sort of almost.
This is a spoiler as hell.
Not really.
Yeah, this is
he's breathing in, taking a look out, and this is what I like to call a hero shot.
Yeah.
And now that you're saying that, you're absolutely right. It's a hero shot at the very end of the film. That's very
just say what you're going to say. Well, this will be in spoiler time.
No, this isn't even a spoiler. I was just saying it's very forgiving of Thanos. It's a very
there's a dark kind of sadistic catharsis.
Yes,
with that moment
at the very end, and I thought it was quite nicely done. I didn't expect it, even though I knew that there would be a follow up to it. It sort of was nice. I mean, I think that the world needs another Empire Strikes Back, where the credits start rolling and we're left to wonder. What of our heroes? I think.
Although in this one, that ends with we watch Darth Vader as the sun rises on his face, and he's pleased with his good work.
yeah. But see, that's the thing, though. What I loved about that shot, that hero shot, if it wasn't pure pleasure.
No,
it was almost like a grudging dedication to something he felt he had to do. And I got the feeling that he didn't take pleasure in it. It was one of those things where I have sacrificed.
I've done the right thing.
Yeah, I have sacrificed everything to do this thing that I had to do. And I knew that I was the only one that could do it.
The universe is a better place because of what I've done.
It's a better place, and I've had to pay a cost to do that. He almost has that look of, oh, this has been a hell of a day. It wasn't one of those, I am the king of the universe.
Yeah, no.
And I was like, wow, that is a nice touch that doesn't have one stitch of dialogue in it. And I said, that's one of the best shots in this film, and it's subtle, and it's smart, and it goes nicely with everything that has come before it. We've had this arc and this wonderful, as you put it, catharsis in the film. I like, that's drama. That's what the Greeks talked about. Mm-hmm. That's what we're looking at here.
He is a tragic hero in some very weird ways.
Absolutely. I agree.
All right, back to spoiler-free area here. Let me say some good things.
Okay.
This movie, more than Civil War, was kind of a prelude to what they've been building toward. But what Marvel has done in this cinematic universe is remarkable in that they have done what Hollywood has, what the traditional, what's the term I'm looking for?
Orthodoxy?
Yeah, that's a good one. The orthodoxy of Hollywood, what was generally considered to be the way you do it, is make sure that every movie can stand on its own and do not tell a serialized tale.
Well, they threw that out the window.
They've thrown that out the window along the way, and they've done what the comics do, which is to take all of these different individual books, these characters and all these different books, and have a huge crossover event. And Marvel does it, DC does it all the time. It's where all the heroes get together and they have to deal with this one thing, and it's just a mess. But it's also this amazing moment for comic fans that want to see all these different heroes get together that don't normally interact. And they did a tremendous job of not only pulling it off, but doing it well.
I want to also
It seems impossible.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But I also want to follow up with a thread you said earlier. And because I literally just saw the film not even an hour ago, and you're saying it, now that I'm putting it through the lens that you put on it, you're right. Not only do they make Thanos the lead, they make who would be the traditional leads, the Avengers, they essentially make them into antagonists and villains in a way. And by that I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, now that you have led me down that road, almost all of our heroes, almost every one of them has that traditional fall of the villain. that place in which they have battled, they have fought the hero, and then there's that inevitable catharsis when we see them fall. Almost every hero in here has that moment where inevitably they fall. And there is catharsis that happens with them being defeated in front of us.
It's the inverse of almost every movie we see, which is, you see it in kung fu movies all the time. It's one man versus just an army or just a giant group. And of course, when there's a fight scene, they all kind of take their turns. You know, they're all supposed to be fighting.
They don't all just jump them at once,
no.
which would make more sense.
That would work. But no, they're all kind of taking their turns, and he knocks them down one by one, takes them down, and that's the Thanos role. And the Avengers is that mass of enemies.
I am literally ticking off every major character in the film, and every single one of them has a single moment where we literally see them fall. We literally see, in some sense, their will being broken. We see this of Spider-Man. We see this of Iron Man. He has a wonderful fall scene. We see a really weird fall, but a hard one for the Scarlet Witch.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange has a fall.
Hulk. Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner. We see it.
Spoilers. Now that's a spoiler. I got to bleep that out.
Why is that a spoiler?
It's the post-credits, man.
Oh, yeah, that is a spoiler. You're fair. Oh, fair enough. Vision. I mean, all of them have that one scene where we literally see them broken. I mean, we see that of almost every single character in the entire film. And this is a spoiler. Those who survive and those who do not. Because there are many people in this film that ostensibly or seemingly do not survive. So we see them, but of all the people who do survive, they've been broken. I mean, broken in a way that I don't think we've ever seen. Like, I don't know that we've ever seen Iron Man broken in this way. Almost his spirit snapped in half. I don't know. You could say he's been broken. There are other movies. I don't know if I agree with that. Certainly Avengers 2, I think Iron Man 3 is a big one for him emotionally. Much more so, I think, than this one. There's a lot of people that don't like, I don't know why people dislike Iron Man 3. I think that's probably one of the strongest. There is a scene in here that I don't think I've seen in any other Iron Man where by broken, I think what the break for Iron Man isn't when he physically falls.
No, I got you.
But to me, the break was when another character sacrifices everything for him. And then he looks over at him and he has there's tears in his eyes, and he says to him, "Why did you do that?" And you could almost see him in that moment break. Why did you do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's an unusual moment for Tony Stark. I thought was a really unusual moment and a well done one.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that moment. All right, well, I guess we're in spoilers. So
yeah,
that moment, I don't know. I'm not convinced. In fact, it didn't occur to me that was Doctor Strange sacrificing or saving Tony.
I don't think it is either.
Okay.
I think that is a setup for the next film. I think that is, in my opinion, that's Marvel doing what they do best. It's the serialization of the movie. I think they're setting it up for a moment that would occur in the next film.
Okay.
But I think for that character in that moment, that's his break. He wonders, why did you do that? And why did you do that for me? I would rather die than give up that to this villain who's kicking our tails. And there, to me, there's a break there that happens with him where he's almost in tears. Like, why did you do that?
Yeah, I guess.
It's a very it's an un-Stark-like moment that you see.
But I don't think he saw it as, I didn't see Tony Stark as seeing it as a sacrifice or saving Tony either. I think he saw it as, that's dumb. That was a really bad choice you just made.
Yeah, but I think whenever Stark usually sees something as dumb, it comes with more of an edge. The way that's delivered and framed, it's not with edge, it's with sorrow and helplessness.
Yeah, I saw hopelessness.
Yeah.
You've doomed us all. There's no snark left. There's nothing to be snarky about.
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I would rather have died. Why would you do that?
I would argue the moment you're talking about probably comes slightly later when probably the most emotional / probably only emotional scene for me, only emotional moment, and it really comes down to performance, was when Peter Parker
That was a good one.
has his moment.
Are you putting out a spoiler?
We're past it. I already did. The
But then
spoilers.
go on and jump in. What happens to Peter
All
Parker?
right, Peter Parker disappears.
No, he
say.
doesn't disappear. He disintegrates.
Yeah.
Disappear is different. Disappear is a mystery of what happened to him. We know what happened to him. Thanos disintegrated him the way you do a cigarette butt that burns through a cigarette.
Sure, but I think I would reckon there's probably something coming in the next movie
Of course.
that will reveal this was not none of these were deaths.
Well, I think that we're going to probably get into the time stone kind of thing.
Yeah, that's too obvious. They're going to have to break those stones or something. There's something else going on.
I think there was something in the reason that Doctor Strange gave him that time stone. I think that is going to factor into some of these deaths that have happened.
Yeah, maybe.
Because when he does it in the film, it makes absolutely no sense.
Right.
And it's completely out of character. And to me, that has to be something that is setting up in the next film that is going to bring resurrection back for all the characters that were disintegrated. That included Nick Fury. That includes Black Panther got disintegrated. Who's the big hulking figure with Guardians of the Galaxy? Batista.
Drax.
Yeah, Thrax is gone. I think Groot is gone.
Groot's gone. Peter Quill's gone.
Peter Quill's, yeah. I mean, the Vision's
and we
head
lost
is
Black Panther, so
Yeah.
they're all coming back because Black Panther is tremendously successful. We cannot lose him.
He's coming back because we need that paper,
That's
baby.
right. Exactly.
Vision has his head ripped out.
Vision will be fine.
He dies in a really,
No, he doesn't.
really awful way.
He'll be fine.
He actually dies twice in this film.
Yeah, I
Once
guess.
killed by the woman who loves him, and once when Thanos rips his head open.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
I don't disagree. Action scenes were wonderful. I wondered how they would balance that many sort of main characters. I thought, but they
They did a better job of it this time, I think. These are the same directors from Captain America, Winter Soldier, and
Yeah,
Captain
two
America,
brothers.
Civil War. Civil War, I had some problems with how they kind of orchestrate. There's so many characters, especially in that airport scene. It's a fun scene, but you know they have to ignore certain characters for long periods of time, just so that things can happen.
Exactly.
And this one didn't suffer from that as much.
Yeah.
But there's one glaring moment.
What's that?
What the hell was Thor doing?
What do you mean?
What was he doing?
He was back there trying to build the weapon to fight.
No. During the final battle, he's on the field. Everybody's at Thanos,
Yeah, this is true.
and he waits until it's too late.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Because what? Because reasons?
That's a fair point. Even one of the characters in the film says, when the Scarlet Witch comes down, where have you been? I mean, at least she's protecting something.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it turns out she's there for a damn good reason.
But still.
Yeah, but still. And I need you to explain some logic to me.
Okay.
This happens a lot in films where they make a decision to save one life
Makes no sense.
at the expense of others. So they've come up with this plan to save the Vision, right? They're going to do something with the gem and the programming and whatnot. They got to go to Wakanda to do it. So it's that or just kill the Vision, right? That's the plan.
Yeah.
So the plan is we can do both. We'll destroy the stone and we'll save Vision so that nobody dies. Except they go to Wakanda where there's going to be a huge battle where tons of people will die
Exactly.
to save this one dude because... can you explain the logic here to me?
It makes no sense.
Other than we need a cool battle.
Well, there were a couple times I didn't understand. Like, I still understand, why can't you destroy the time stone?
Because I don't want to.
Yeah, like,
You don't wanna.
Yeah, why can't you just destroy the thing?
Because don't want to.
I mean, it makes no sense.
We have sworn to not do that, so we shall not.
Yeah, I mean, and when they came in the thing with Star-Lord, they're about to beat the guy. And Star-Lord
That's
is
ridiculous.
I will say this, it's ridiculous, but I will give them this at least. It is consistent with his character. There's a scene in which they're about to beat Thanos. And what has happened in the film is Star-Lord's girlfriend and lover,
Gamora.
Gamora in order for Thanos to get one of the other time stones, he has to he has to destroy something he loves. And it turns out the only thing he loves in the world is
The Red Skull.
no.
I'm sorry.
Is the green girl.
Oh, that's right. Red Skull was there. By the way, Red Skull was there. That was weird.
Yeah. So he murders her. And so this is revealed in the scene where they're fighting Thanos and they're about to destroy him. The little creepy girl with the antennas on top of his head. 2 or 3 Avengers are on the other side of him. And right as they're about to destroy him, it's revealed that she's been murdered. So instead of letting them destroy the guy, he starts punching him in the face, which disrupts the weird girl with the antenna on top. Mm-hmm. And he effectively saves the guy. Makes no sense.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but it is consistent with his character.
I guess.
But it was a stupid scene. And I saw it coming a mile away. I'm like, oh.
Of course.
They're about to be stupid here.
Yeah, of course, because there's still an hour left in this thing.
Yeah.
How long was this? 3 hours or something like that?
No, was it?
I don't know.
It breezed
someone
by.
Walking out of the theater, some kid was like, well, that was 3 hours long. And his dad said, yep, it was. I'm like, oh, was it? Because it did not feel... Well,
no, it did not. It was.
These are the hard facts that we get ahead of time before we record. It did go by. I was entertained.
Oh, it was very entertaining.
I got another nit to pick here.
What's that?
I mentioned the Peter Parker death scene.
Love that.
Great moment. He disintegrated way slower.
Way slower than everybody else. I'm like, wow, it's really taking him a while.
His emotions are so powerful.
Yeah, because he didn't just go.
He can't leave existence.
That is a nitpick, but I did notice, wow.
That isn't actually my nitpick.
I mean, he falls to the ground.
Yeah,
he's laying there. I'm like,
they had to have a moment.
I'm almost looking at my watch like, is this guy going to go?
No, he's going to, with the power of his tears. No, that wasn't my nitpick. My nitpick was that was the only character moment that I think I cared about.
I disagree with that.
No, you can't disagree because it's what I care about.
Yeah, I disagree with it.
Wait, you think I did care about something else?
I think you did. I think
else?
you don't know it.
All right, what was it? I would love to know.
I mean, don't tell me that the Tony Stark scene where it's just such a wonderful visual where all of his armor is ripped away from him and he is just a man and he is.
Yeah, but I've seen that before.
Yeah, but he's impaled. That's a wonderful moment. It's just, sometimes even if you've seen it before, you know what? I've had chocolate ice cream before. Moment, you know what? It's good every goddamn time.
That moment would have been great if he had died.
Oh, no. I think, you're nuts. That he had to live with that is what makes it great. That he has to live in that failure is what makes it hot.
I guess if Tony Stark dies at Thanos' hand, that sets me up for the next movie way more than anything else. Because I want to see Cap. Because Cap and Tony never reconciled.
Of course not.
And then they'd never get the chance.
But now Cap will be the one to go after. That would be awful. What
do you mean?
I would hate if they did that.
What are you talking about?
Sometimes a dramatic storyline, between a dramatic storyline and a charismatic character, give me the character every time. As much as I hate the way they pull out a character, it's not worth the storyline to lose somebody as magnetic and somebody who roots the piece the way in which Tony Stark does. I mean, you just cannot toss that away because you're trying to make some dramatic point. I would hate that if he would have died right there. I'd be like, that's stupid. Because I knew Tony Stark was going to probably survive. I like the idea that he had to live with it. He had to live with the fact that he was going to be murdered was one of the catalysts that gave the guy one of the last stones. I love that moment when he fell. I thought that was great.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange moment had damn well, as you presume, better have a damn good payoff.
It has to.
Because if it doesn't, that moment...
It has to.
What you love about that moment goes away.
Well, no, but he even says something that really...
he says it's the only way.
Yeah, he says it's the only way.
But I'd like to have some kind of clue that he figured something out. I don't have to know what it is.
But he does. I mean, he tells us we're at the end game now or something like that. And then he says this was the only way. I mean, short of hitting us in the head with a hammer, he's clearly indicating that there's a reason that he did this, and it was a necessary thing to defeat Thanos.
I guess.
So I thought they were pretty unsubtle about that. especially in a film that has this many characters and this much economy of lines. You can almost count the amount of lines of each character. So every line that comes out of a character mouth in this film has some kind of weight or meaning.
Which makes it all the more remarkable that they spent so much time on dramatic scenes with the villain.
Yeah, I agree.
It's scenes where it's Thanos. It's like it's a 2-character scene. You got Thanos and one other person, or sometimes just Thanos.
I love the scene. I love the fact that he doesn't murder everybody.
It's not necessary. It's not his goal.
But that's what I'm saying. I like the fact that he's not a murderer or that he's not bloodthirsty.
Well, yeah. I mean, by definition, he kind of is, but the intention is not that.
In other words, I don't get the sense that he gets enjoyment by murdering people with his bare hands when he could. So there are a lot of times where he defeats people in this film, and he could kill them or wipe them all, and he doesn't, because that's not his goal. Or like when he has Tony Stark, there's a wonderful exchange where he says, man, I respect you, and it's genuine. I respect you. I respect that you're a warrior. I mean, I'm going to wipe out half of humanity, and you'll probably be dead, but I hope that they remember you when you go, because you're a fighter. And I think that was genuine. I like that.
I don't think he said, I hope they remember you. I said, I wonder if they'll remember you. Slightly less magnanimous.
But I think he was saying it. I think he was saying it as if you are someone worthy of being remembered.
Yeah, maybe. Who was it he said to Peter Quill? He said, I like you. Before he takes off.
Yeah, he says, I like this guy.
Yeah.
I like the cut of your jib.
All right, laters. Taking your girlfriend. You'll never see her again.
Well, I think he respected the fact that he had the guts to try to kill her, to save her.
Yeah, I guess.
I think he respected that. And I get the sense that this, like I said, they make him complex. He's a guy that respects the other side. He respects the other side that is actively trying to kill him.
Yeah, well, they're short-sighted and foolish.
Well, I don't know.
He understands, I guess, what they're trying to do, but they're just not thinking it through. Not like him.
Well, I don't think he sees it that way. I think he sees it as they are not destined like I am. I am predestined by the fates to do this. You are not. I think he looks at it like that. I think he looks at it as, I have this calling to do this thing that must be done, and it can only be me that does it. And he even has a line, something like that in the film, that he knew he was the guy who had to do this. Even though everybody on his planet thought he was a madman, he knew that he was the one that had to get this done for the sake of humanity.
It's like Tom Cruise in that way.
Tom Cruise?
You ever see that video, that Scientology video?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're the heroes, man.
Not we. It's I. He's like, if I see someone broke down the street, I have to.
I gotta say,
because no one else can do it.
But it was a Scientology thing.
It was a Scientology thing.
He's like, yeah, man.
No one else can do it. I'm the only one who can do it.
Of course.
It's like, man, I got a jack. What are you talking about? I got a jack in the back of my car. I can change a tire. What are we talking about?
I'm being robbed. Call Tom Cruise.
Get him. He just learned how to fly a helicopter. Get him in here.
Hey, look, Matt, don't be glib with me, man. Yeah.
Tommy. It's a fine movie, It's a master class, and again, it runs counter to everything the common wisdom. Keep it, especially with superhero movies. Keep it focused. The more characters you get in this, the worse off you'll be. Go back to the Batman movies. Every new villain they added to the movies got worse, and people tended to blame, it's because of the characters. No, it wasn't because of the characters. It was because of who was doing it.
Well, I think part of it, you said this earlier, I think one of the sort of the hard and fast rules by the Hollywood gatekeepers was that you couldn't serialize film. And I think they were right in the challenges of that there are some things that you lose. But I think clearly what Marvel has proven is some of the things that you gain is you don't have to establish the characters. You don't have to establish backstory. You don't have to establish a relationship to the audience. Because it is serialized, those things are there. It's almost like sort of a warm pair of shoes that you come and just slip back on.
It's what we wanted them. They learned the lesson from Spider-Man as well. Sony did the first however many Spider-Man movies. They did the original version and then the reboot, and now we get a second reboot with Marvel actually involved this time. And we were like, no more origin story. We don't need the origin story. We know who this guy is.
And it's amazing.
And they didn't do the origin story because there's no need.
I think it's also the first time that I've seen, and maybe first time is too large an expanse to cover, but I think I love the fact it reminded me of, in some ways, how every time you saw Billy the Kid, it was always some 40-year-old guy playing a guy who literally, when it started, he was 16.
Yeah, Estevez.
Yeah, and when he died, he was 19. And one of the things that I thought was genius about Young Guns was these were literally young kids who acted young, were immature, and were a little goofy.
Now give me whoever was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's my Billy the Kid, forever and always.
But I love the conceit in this film that he's a kid, and he has that relationship to the other superheroes, particularly Tony Stark. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love this Spider-Man. I love this kid.
Yeah.
And I thought they handled him in a way that I haven't seen him handled before. And I think it's one of those things where you wonder, how come they can't get this thing right in the other universes? Why can't DC just rip this off? Why can't they just steal what Marvel does?
Because they made their bed with Zack Snyder, man.
Well, take just Snyder out back and get rid of him, because I mean, when you see this working, why not just steal it? Just steal it and implement some of that with some of your characters.
Yeah, I think there's too much ego.
Here's
too much
one
ego
tip
in Hollywood for that.
Here's a little tip that Marvel seems to be able to figure out: do some of your scenes in the daytime. How about that? How about that little sunshine in?
Justice League had that cell phone footage at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess. But even when it's in the daytime, it always looks a little
weird,
rainy.
yeah.
It's almost like they're filming it like on the West Coast in Seattle or something.
They put a mud filter on the lens.
I don't get it.
I mean, to be fair, DC has brought in Joss Whedon to take some responsibility for what'll happen in DC from here on out, so maybe that'll change somewhat. But that's a preview of what you might hear in part 2 of this episode.
Indubitably.
All right, and that does it for us. Check us out on disagreepodcast.com. You can subscribe on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, anywhere podcasts are sold. Drop us some reviews. That would be tremendously helpful. Get some views up. And the number one thing you could do for us is, if you like the show, or even if you don't, but you know somebody who might, just tell them about it. Just tell one person. Let them know the show exists. Tell them an episode. Tell them our name, disagreepodcast.com, for Disrespectfully Agree, the podcast. We would appreciate it. And with that, we will talk at you next week.
Peace and chicken grease.
Bye.